everyone, I am just doing a little video on applying basic nails. These ones are Sahara Jewel. So it comes with this package, file, 2 nail prep pads. So start by opening the prep pads and cleaning your nails. Before I started this, I took off my old polish, I pushed back my cuticles, shaped my nails, and then I also like to start by washing my hands, specifically like my nails, nail bed area, with dish soap. That way, if I have any sort of extra oils on my nails that would make it harder for the nail strips to stick, I get rid of them. To see if I can adjust this a little better. This would be a lot easier with like a tabletop tripod, but I have a tripod that I used to use for a different company I was with a while ago, and it's not really meant for this. So I start off with these strips. If you kind of see where it ends, the seal, I like to cut as close to the seal as possible when I'm opening. While Color Street doesn't guarantee these for more than one use, I have had a lot of success with taking a nail straightener and re-sealing them so that I can use them later, because I don't use all of these strips in one use. So that's why I try not to cut down too far, because that way when I put them back in, then I can reseal this with a straightener. Okay, so this is what you get when you open the package. I normally will only end up using 1/2. Another tip, I like to do my thumbnails last. That way that I can use them to kind of like smooth down all of my other nails without messing up the nail. So I know that for me, this strip is what's going to fit my thumbnail best, so I'm just going to pull that part off and turn it to the side. So that leaves me these ones to figure out which fits best here. So this one I normally use for this nail. If you kind of hold it over, you can see like, yes, that's going to be a good fit. So remove this. Next thing I do is I take this little tab and just kind of remove it. So then you want to gently peel off the nail strip. So next thing you want to do for applying it is get the nail strip as close to your cuticle at the edge of your nail bed as possible. And see, that's a good fit. So I'm just going to kind of smooth it down. I also really like to use these little rubber cuticle sticks, because that way when you can use them to make sure that everything is smoothed in. Kind of push them all the way down, but that way it's soft enough that it's not going to tear your nails. So see, that's nice and pushed on. Then I just kind of take it and perforate. Pull off. There you go. And see, the bottom isn't quite perfect. I could use a little bit more trimming, but I'm gonna wait to do that for a little while. This isn't enough to annoy me, and if you wait to do it, then you get the nail to fully set, so you have less chance of messing up the bottom. So I still have all of this left from that strip, so I'm gonna use that on my other side. So again, it's a good fit. Just kind of smooth it down. Take this sucker to kind of smooth it in. You can just as easily do this with your finger. I just have the tool, so I'm using them. So it's a good fit. So again, I'm just kind of gonna push it so that, and see how now it's perforated, and I can just pull it off. And see how the bottom is not quite perfect. It has like extra. See that? Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave that and probably for like another like 20 minutes or so, or at least for me to finish the other ones. So then I can file at the end, but they're already kind of set up on my nail and stuck to them pretty good, so it's not gonna worry about it going anywhere. And then you can kind of just keep going. This one fits this nail pretty well. tear that off. Okay, so for me, this nail is my hardest nail to do because it's kind of weirdly shaped and crooked. So this one can sometimes take me a few tries to get it to line up the way I like it to. But I think it's actually, yeah, that's pretty good. So, snip that down. And just kind of pull it off. This one has a little bit kind of overhang right here, just because my nail is shaped funny. And so I just kind of push it like that. And if you just kind of push it gently, then the extra you can just kind of tear off. And that will just kind of come out. And so since my thumbnail is not already done, I can kind of use it to pick without having to worry. So those two are done. And just kind of keep going. That one's a good fit. So you're probably not going to be quite this quick doing it your first time. I do these pretty much once a week, once every week and a half or so. Normally I could go longer than I do between changing, and then I just get impatient and want to try out a different color. So that's why I change them as often as I do. I don't have to, but there's so many different colors that I like, so I do. Okay, so this one, you can see there's a little overhang, so I'm just taking this rubber cuticle thing, pushing, and some tweezers that I can just kind of use to pull this part off. So, pinky nail for me, this one I find a little too narrow. I can use the bottom part here, kind of, but I like this one better for my pinky nail. But one side definitely is kind of big. So this side fits pretty good. But this side, you'll see it's a little bit wide, which is fine because I can trim off the extra. And just make sure it's nice and smooth to my nail and that I'm covering all of it. Then I just kind of go my thumbnail and just kind of, you know, see where the skin is, just kind of perforate. And just pull off. The extra. And that's just kind of perforated already from where I was pushing at it with my thumb. So, looking pretty good. And remember, I'm just kind of leaving any extra like that for a little bit because that way when I go back and file it, you don't really get as much of the half moon issue that some people talk about. The bottom of your nails from filing when it kind of removes a little bit more than you want it to, if you let it sit on your nails a little bit before you do the filing. Okay. And the last one. This one I use for my big toe, or if I like mess up a bunch, you can use it and then do that thing that I did with this nail to trim it. But this one works really well on my pinky, on my thumb rather. So, move. It's a good fit. And see, that one I didn't quite like where it was, so you can, until you really smooth them down, you can pick them up and put them back down again. They don't stick immediately. You have to kind of smooth them down first. So you can reposition if you feel like you've messed up when you put it on the first time, which is really helpful. Really tuck it in. Separate it. And that's really about it. Then when I'm going to trim a little bit, I'll take one of these and just kind of go. You want to be very gentle. Don't go crazy with your filing. But let me see if you can see it. See, I'm kind of going perpendicular, and I'm using the softer grit of this one. So that way you can see it's fit well. And I will finish those up in a little bit. I'm just gonna let them sit a little bit longer. I normally also will put on a top coat. You can either use a Clear as Day one by Color Street, or a lot of times we use Seche Feet clear top coat, just because I feel like it makes them last longer. But these ones are looking actually really good without a top coat, so I might not do it. So that is it. If you have any questions on how I did that, just let me know. And then you'll see I still have a ton of these left. The whole size. This is enough for a whole nother manicure. And so a lot of time, I think it's easier to put them back in if you separate them out a little bit more. So as you see, I just tore that strip in half. And so I'll stick these back in here. Push them down. These on this side. Those in, those in, and then I have all of these, which is actually for me, this is enough for a pedicure. I have really little toenails, so it's like more than enough for a pedicure. Which I might actually do today because I took off my toenail polish finally. I remember to do it before I did my nails, so that's always exciting. And so just kind of stick them in, so you have all that extra room. You can just take a heating iron, hot iron for your hair, and just seal this. And that way it will keep them sealed so they don't dry out. If you find that you didn't seal it well enough and they do dry out a little bit, I also have found that if you kind of blast them with a hair dryer for a few seconds before applying them, if they seem a little dry, that also really helps to kind of revive them. So those are some tips and tricks.